We're also talking on price tags this evening about Real Madrid, who reportedly have set a 160 million euro fee for Vinicius Jr. to join Arsenal, or to leave, not directly to join Arsenal. Some big updates there as well. Some big sources claiming he wants to stay, Madrid want him, and a deal will be realized. Others saying it may be a little more complicated, with Real Madrid not willing to increase the salary that has been offered so far, that has been rejected. Plus, two big updates from Andy Mitten in relation to Tchouaméni and Lewis Hall. Do us a favor, please, and hit that like button before we go any further. Make sure that you have turned on the bell notification as well. This is the Done Deal Show. We're going to be talking Vinicius Jr. as well, as there's been a couple of big updates today that I think are worth talking about, engaging everybody's opinions on as well. The one that I'm not going to engage with, and there's a lot of content creators doing it, so I'm just not going to follow that same line, that same train of thought, which is the whole Vinicius is using Arsenal to get a better contract. You know, my dad put me straight on that yesterday, and I'm embarrassed to say at 40 years of age, I thought those things were possible. It's just so convoluted. The idea that Arsenal, Berta, the Cronkies, Mikel Arteta, many of the mainstream media outlets, including people like Ornstein and Real Madrid, are stupid enough to believe that he's interested in Arsenal if it's not real, makes the whole thing just a bit of a fallacy, in my personal opinion. If this was agent-led, if this was being reported as agent-led, then my mind might change, but it isn't. In fact, there were some fairly strong reports this afternoon that the interest from Arsenal is real. Sources from Vinicius's camp, along with sources inside Arsenal, have confirmed that the interest is indeed serious. Arsenal has the financial capacity to complete a deal for Vinicius Jr. It's been approved on all levels. Do I think he's using Arsenal? No. Do I think he's weighing up his options like a professional should? Absolutely. That's my stance. That's my view. That's my opinions on it. But will the Yandy Amande deal be one that requires a sale of a Vinicius? Will it change things? I'm not particularly sure. The fee that they're saying has been set for Vinicius Jr. is about 160 million euros. That has come out of various sources in Spain today as well. So my view is straight away, what would be the point of setting an idea of a fee if they weren't looking to sell him? In fact, Madrid will look to sell the player if he doesn't agree a new contract. And the contract breakdown was quite interesting. And I read this today from a fairly credible source who said Vinicius Jr. Wants to stay at Real Madrid. And I think that's a really fair place to start, that he wants to stay at Real Madrid, but it doesn't tell the full picture. Let's take a look into this. He says this is what his entourage are conveying, assessing all the priorities remain unchanged. He says, regarding Arsenal, the English club privately confirms its interest in the Brazilian, but there is no personal terms agreed at this point. It says, but is a renewal possible? The reality is that Real Madrid, all scenarios have always been laid out on the table. The renewal remains just as distant as it has for months. There is no intention of an improved offer. In fact, the club conveyed to Vinicius' agent that whilst the priority was to renew the contract, they do want to keep him. They do want him to remain. In case he wanted to leave, they were open to reaching an agreement for his sale as well. They will not allow him, or they will push for him to not leave on a free transfer next summer. So there are a variety of sources, and I've seen a lot of headlines today that say things like Madrid want to keep Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. wants to stay at Real Madrid. But when you actually delve into the stories in a bit more detail, it is a bit more complex than that. And I think it is rather disingenuous just to read one line from these stories and leave it at that. Because what they're essentially saying is that the player would like to stay, but he wants an improved offer. The club would like to keep him, but as it stands, they're not going to improve that offer. And they will not do what Man City, for instance, are saying they will do with Rodri, and that is allow the contract to run down until the end of the final year. So there's a lot to kind of unpack with this story. They've gone and got Yandy Amande done. They're pushing very, very hard to bring Rodri in, who is as well going to be very expensive. And the one real big, large, consistent story that has come out of Real Madrid this summer is that to buy big, they must sell big. Now, whether Vinicius Jr. is part of that, whether Tchouaméni is part of that, we can all sit here and speculate as fans, but there is certainly a possibility that it happens. The one element I'm rejecting, and I know people are doing this for the banter, and that's the kind of, I have a bit of a laugh as well. I'm just a little bit bored. You know, I saw 1,000 TikToks saying the same thing today, and you sit there and go, God, imagine everyone just telling the same joke over and over, the same knock joke over and over again. It's a little bit laborious. I don't think this is about anybody being used. I think this is about a real situation, a huge situation, and there are a couple of major outcomes that could come, from this. This super chat here says, as much as I'd like this to happen, we won't get Vinny. And that is a very distinct possibility, Carl, a very distinct possibility. And I think that there's something to be excited about in this pursuit, but I also think there's an element of keeping your feet firmly on the ground and understanding that it isn't easy. It isn't simple. It's not a case of just, we'll put a bid in and it will be accepted. I see some of the fun elements that most of the time, I think all the time, when Ornstein has said that Arsenal are exploring a deal, the deal has ended up happening. I've seen those.
Seen it. Then it surrounds a certain Vinicius Jr., shall we say, that Arsenal are exploring a move for Vinicius Jr., the Real Madrid superstar. Incredible news. I mean, genuinely incredible news. I think we've all sort of talked about it this summer, haven't we? We've all mentioned it. I've had loads of questions on it on the channel, like, why don't we go for Vinicius? Ollie, Inside Arsenal Patreon member, I know will be absolutely delighted with this news because he's talked about it non-stop. So, why not? Why not? And I've always said, look, it just doesn't feel like something Arsenal could really do. Obviously, I want it, but it just felt like if someone's going to take advantage of Vinny Jr.'s contract situation this summer, it would probably have to be one of the state-sponsored clubs, so basically PSG or Manchester City. But it appears that Arsenal are, well, it doesn't even appear because this is legit. This is absolutely correct. And of course it would be. Look, it's David Ornstein tweeting it. You don't need me to confirm David Ornstein's news, but I have had it confirmed since David has tweeted out this story that it is correct. And look, it's one of many options at the moment. It's very, very early days. He's not, there's no club-to-club talks going on with Real Madrid at this stage, but Vinny Jr. is absolutely of interest for Arsenal. They are exploring whether a deal will be possible. It all depends really on the contract situation, what happens at Madrid. Will Vinny stay? Will he sign a new deal? If he doesn't, Arsenal position themselves to be in right at the front of the conversation of a potential next move, because let's face it, Real Madrid will not want to lose Vinny Jr. on a free. So something is going to have to happen fairly soon. And if it doesn't, then they're going to have a decision to make. So it's massive news. It is huge news, no doubt about it. And I'm sure, I'm just looking at the comments at the moment. They're all piling in. There's loads of you already on the show. And, I've seen the reaction on social media. This sort of transfer link just doesn't happen very often. A genuine world superstar. And that is what Vinny Jr. is. He's one of the biggest, most well-known, best players in the world, most marketable players in the world. It would be genuinely incredible. It would be up there.
That Arsenal are exploring a move for Vinicius Jr., and crucially, the report states this idea has been approved at all levels inside the Emirates. That's significant. It means ownership, football operations and Arteta himself are all aligned on the idea of pursuing this if a genuine opportunity presents itself. The logic behind it is straightforward too. Arsenal have made no secret of wanting to strengthen their left-wing options this summer, and a two-time Ballon d'Or runner-up entering the final year of his contract is exactly the kind of opportunity that doesn't come around often. But here's story 2, and it complicates absolutely everything. According to ESPN, Vinicius is now reportedly close to agreeing a brand new contract extension at Real Madrid, one that would run all the way through to 2030. The reported structure is a €20 million net base salary that can rise to €30 million with bonuses, which would make him the highest earner at the entire club. Sources describe the two sides as near agreement after a fresh round of talks between his representatives and Madrid's executives. If that holds up, this entire Arsenal story could be dead within days rather than developing into anything real. So how do we square these two things? The truth is, this saga has been dragging on for around 18 months, and it's gone through several distinct phases. At one stage, VINICIUS reportedly gave serious consideration to a lucrative offer from the Saudi Pro League, a move that would have banked him wages Arsenal or anyone in Europe simply couldn't match. That Saudi interest has since gone quiet, with ESPN reporting no fresh contact from that direction since December. At another stage, sources close to Sky Sports described the numbers involved as almost impossible for a Premier League move to work, with VINICIUS reportedly currently on €15 million a year net, Real's offer sitting at $20 million, and VINICIUS himself wanting $30 million, working out to just over €550,000 a week net. As one insider put it bluntly, when you put those figures in the mix, it becomes very hard to imagine Arsenal or anybody else in the Premier League actually matching that kind of package. What seems to have shifted things is the structure of the new offer. Rather than a flat guaranteed salary, reports suggest Madrid have bridged the gap by building in a bonus-heavy contract, guaranteeing $20 million but allowing him to reach $30 million through performance incentives. That's the kind of creative structuring that lets both sides claim victory, Madrid keeping their guaranteed wage bill lower while VINICIUS gets a genuine path to the number he's been holding out for. If that deal actually gets signed, this becomes less about Arsenal missing out and more about a negotiation finally reaching its natural conclusion. It's also worth understanding why Real Madrid are moving with such urgency right now. VINICIUS's current deal runs until June 2027, but under Spanish football regulations, he'd be free to negotiate a pre-contract agreement with a foreign club as early as January 2027, meaning Real risk losing him for absolutely nothing if this drags on much longer. Real have also been extremely active in the market already this summer under new